And we're live.
All right. We are in 2023.
Yeah, welcome back.
Welcome back to everybody who's watching or going to watch down the line. Man, Happy New Year, I guess. It's because the last podcast was 2022.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, it's been a year since we had a podcast.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
You're starting the year out. I don't know if you're seeing our Ditto Cam. That's what I call it because Rush Limbaugh called it that. I don't know what else to call it. Camera.
Is this what this is called?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay.
You can see. You can actually see us.
Oh, okay. I just feel like this is podcast now.
Well, I'm looking at your screen.
His was like a radio show. This is a podcast, and I feel like all podcasts now
have a camera.
I mean, why not?
Yeah, it lets you see who you're talking to. Although I will say this, I enjoy. So like, there was a radio guy, Neil Borsch, I think. Anyway, he's a conservative talk show guy that I listened to back in the day, and he had like one of the best radio voices ever. Like,
sure.
I listen to him every day, and I just loved his voice. Kind of Paul Harvey-esque, Paul
sure.
Harvey had a great radio voice, and then I saw him, and I'm like, that does not match my picture because I had this picture in my head, But when I saw him, because it was all before they put the cameras in,
I mean, I feel like all radio hosts have glasses,
right.
And that's just not. Like, for me, it would be Bobby Bones. Like, I listen to Bobby Bones in the morning.
Yeah.
He's in the countryside, but he does not have glasses, nor does he look like I would expect him to look.
Who is your favorite radio talk show podcaster, pastor on a podcast? Any medium of it would come through your car radio. Who's your favorite?
Lately, I feel like I have been doing a bunch of the Bible Project, which, like, I don't know, they go into the nerdiness of the Bible. Like, hey, this was written by Matthew. He was a Jew, and so it's written from a Jewish perspective, and you're going to see all the... And so I've been doing a lot of that lately. If I had to listen to a radio show, typically in the mornings I listen to Revocation Radio, which is like Christian hip-hop and rock. And so that's typically who I listen to. His name is John. I like him because you can text him, and he'll reply live on the air to you, which I think that's a really cool feature.
I think mine's Clay and Buck.
They're pretty good.
It is I'm not, look at this. I'm figuring out how to do all this.
Only took a year.
It only took a year. I was a Rushbo fan. Rush baby, man. I've been listening to Rush Limbaugh forever.
Sure.
And Clay and Buck came on in his spot, after he died, and I thought, I'd never even really heard of them. I should have, I guess, because they were already pretty big. But I like their banter back and forth.
Sure.
They talk some sports, and they talk some politics, and but he was like a CIA operative or something, and so he's got some insight into some stuff. But I think for me, Clay and Buck, I really like them. And then I listen to a little AFR apologetic stuff. There's a couple guys on there that I like. When I'm listening to the Christian side of the house, I like all the apologetics, how to argue.
Yeah, of course you do.
Your faith. Well, of course. Well,
I'm not surprised by that in the least. I feel like that was probably your major.
It would have been. It should have been.
Somehow,
I was a communications major because I was going to be. My ultimate goal was to be a broadcaster. At a Braves announcer, and now that I've done it at Northside baseball games, I realize how bad I suck at it. So I would not have ever reached that, or I wanted to be on the news, like a
an anchor.
Yeah, like a broadcast journalist, and so that was originally my goal, and obviously God had something. I was the editor of the newspaper. I enjoyed writing. But as far as like the news, I wanted to be the broadcast guy. I wanted to be like a war correspondent. That kind of, it is what it is.
You wanted to wear the flak jacket and do the interviews, or you wanted to be like behind the scenes writing?
No, I wanted to be in a flak jacket doing the interviews, out on the front lines embedded with the military, stuff like that. But a lot of that's just from being a veteran too. I enjoyed,
well, sure.
If I had it to do all over again, I'd have gone into the Army, and instead of being in the infantry, I would have been a journalist.
Interesting.
Yeah, but that's not possible anymore.
I do have a new question for you.
Oh gosh, first question of the year.
Yeah, it's along the same lines as is a hot dog a sandwich, or does a straw have one hole or two? But if your birthday is on January 1st, is your birthday always next year?
Such a dumb question. Well, if it's January 1st and your own January 1st, it would be this year.
But wouldn't your birthday be next year? Like, whenever you refer to your birthday, it wouldn't be. It'll always be, it's coming up next year. Like, if your birthday's in March, say my birthday's coming up in March.
You're like, it's this year in March. But if you're in December, you're like, oh, it's next year. That hurts my brain. If y'all can't see the Ditto cam, Matt is drinking this drink called Liquid Death.
It's great.
And I think it's water.
It is. It's from the Alps.
Is it energy water?
Nope.
Is it actually from the Alps?
Yep.
Okay, so it's just...
Literally, like, canned in Switzerland.
So you're drinking canned water with no energy?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out if you had too many of those this morning.
No, I haven't had any this morning. I had to go teach Bible at the Word Academy this morning. So
what'd y'all talk about?
Well, since it's the new year, we said I said we're going to get back to basics. And so I gave them a soap journal to work on.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be doing soap for the next 6 weeks. They don't seem nearly as excited as I am, but it's the perks of I get to pick what we do.
perks of being the teacher.
There you go.
So my question for you, we've asked this question 2 weeks in a row in church. We were like, the first blank was, what's your excuse?
Sure.
But last week I asked, what's the one thing you want to change? So is there any, I don't want to call it a resolution, but is there one thing you want to see different in your world in 2023?
I would say the one thing I would want is, Claire and I talked about resolutions, and one of my resolutions was I was going to make more decisions this year and just deal with the consequences after. So, you're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome.
Huh.
And so, but I would say efficiency has been on my brain a lot, and I just want to become, whether it's work or whether it's family life, I just want to become an efficient, lean, mean machine,
Sounds interesting.
And so, yeah.
So you're going to take the step over into the Maverick world and just make a decision and roll with it?
Well, yeah. If you want my honest thoughts on it, I went, how can I become better professionally? And what came to my brain was I got to do a better job of taking things off your plate. And I just got to stop. I don't think you need to be weighted down with mundane decisions that I could make, but 9 times out of 10 you just send me a fist bump, so so why even ask,
Well, and I'll say this, 90% of decisions really don't have
absolutely
and this drives some people nuts, because I'm like, Church 101 is we're going to talk about it, we're going to meet about it.
Gosh, yes.
And after the meeting, we're going to talk about it some more. I'm like, slap some paint on the wall and let's roll on. And whatever color it is, nobody's going to remember what it was a week from now. So it's like, but we spend so much time yipping and yapping when we could be moving.
Yes.
And most things are in passing conversations if they need to be. But at the end of the day, most decisions, I feel like God's big enough to handle most decisions. If we were going to tank a church, we'd already done it. We have given him plenty of opportunity.
Sure.
So we've done some entertaining stuff in the quest to grow God's kingdom.
Yeah, I just think efficiency-wise, that'll make our church more efficient if I'll just start going, yep, got it, and just leave you out of it. No offense to you.
I like being left out of a lot of
things.
Like,
obviously the big questions are the big questions, and we can ask those, but the little stuff.
Well, most people who know me know that my level of, like, there's certain things I'm really,
sure,
picky or passionate about.
When it comes to Halloween, I'll make sure to ask.
Well, yeah, Halloween's probably a good one to ask, but I feel like this year I'm taking December off the calendar, so we may throw the largest.
We'll have 2 weeks extra of November and 2 weeks extra of January.
Well, I'm thinking Christmas in October.
Pre-year. You don't want Thanksgiving?
No, we have Thanksgiving, so December's off the calendar.
Right, so 2 extra weeks.
We just moved Christmas up to October. We
Ah.
go November to January.
Interesting thought.
Yeah, you don't like Christmas in October?
I mean, Christmas in July sounds better to me.
Sam says Christmas in October.
Okay.
So we could already buy our trees.
I mean, that's true. I'm just saying Christmas in July sounds, like a summery. Everybody wants to cool down in the summer, and then they complain about the cool in winter. So.
Yeah, valid. We are not having a harsh winter this year. I looked at the next 10 days, and it's like 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
Makes me want to go plant my garden. But I know we're going to catch a freeze.
Well, we'll catch a couple. The nice thing about mild winters is that it creates for a really great crawfish season.
That's what I was just telling Cassie the other day. I'm looking for my crawfish I just told Quinn distributor. Huh?
I just told Quinn that. We were walking to school, when we walk to school, she always asks either 100 questions or we sing some song. But she was talking about the winter, and I said, well, it makes a really great thing about mild winters is a great crawfish season, and she went, that is exciting.
That is. I'm gonna pull my cooker up to the Bunt store this year. I've been talking about it for 2 years. I'm gonna cook crawfish at the Bunt store.
We need to say good morning to Crystal. She's part of our staff there. She messaged on. Not that you're looking.
Good morning, Crystal. Crystal, are you ready for crawfish season? That's the question.
I don't know if she eats crawfish.
I don't think she does. She doesn't come across as a crawfish kind of person. She's a little dainty and a little, she's
not as adventurous.
She's not. I don't see her like reaching in and snapping a crawfish neck and all of that good stuff. Good morning, Ashley. How are you? Yes, I do. Apparently, she does eat crawfish, and she's exclamation pointing.
Oh, wow!
She's yelling at me before 10:15.
Well, let's do.
That's she's aggressive. We live in an abusive world here in our office.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to crawfish season. I'm going to take the cooker up there and make some low boils for some people, and I've got the Cajun fryer. I wanna try some boudin balls.
That's one of my favorites.
I got a recipe. I can't tell you who it's from because I don't want anybody else to go to him. I asked you, he's Cajun, right? You would know who he is. Obviously, he's Cajun, and he's a Cajun. And I asked him, I said, hey man, I said, you got a recipe for boudin balls? Because I can get them from like Cisco or somewhere already kind of pre-made and just batter them up. But dude, he brought me a 3-page recipe from his grandmama.
Wow.
And I'm like, the amount of like homemade effort that would take. I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna make them for the house.
Sure.
But like, I looked at it and I'm like, those were the days of the homemade mamas in the kitchen, chopping it all up, rolling it all together. And boudin balls with love.
See, on our side, you knew you were gonna get a great tamale or some great tortillas if it was like this old Mexican grandma. Like, you knew.
Yep.
Like, she didn't have any feelings in her hands, so she could like Claire's stepmom can do it, and I don't know. She's like, why are you? Every time I make tortillas, she's like, your water's not hot enough, and I'm like, it's like this close to boiling.
She's like, it will take the skin off of my fingers.
It's not hot enough, and so I just go, I don't. But man,
when is tamale season?
Typically, like in Texas, it was November to like January, but here it's, I don't know, Here they do a lot. We do a lot different tamales. Ironically, we're making tamales on this weekend, so that's on my docket.
Has your wife put out the order sheet yet?
No.
Okay,
I don't.
because the last time I didn't see her order sheet on Facebook because I've all but given up Facebook, and except for work related, and those cream cheese jalapeno.
So we experimented with some elotes that were pretty good, like doing an elote tamale. That was. I thought she doesn't care for elotes.
Okay, dude, I'm from Etowah County. I don't know what an elote is.
It's Mexican corn. You make it with like mayonnaise and crema and corn and like tahini, some lime.
Like street corn kind of?
Street corn, exactly.
I got you. All right.
But, so we experimented with those, and I thought they were pretty good. She didn't care for them. It was really, it's going to sound like a joke, but it was really corny.
But I'm done.
So, but yeah, we're planning on making, I don't know, we have on the docket to make 30 or 40 dozen, so.
Are any of them going to be cream cheese jalapeno?
Well, probably, we're going to do pork, spicy pork, and cream cheese jalapeno.
Okay, I would like to order 2.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so when your wife asks if we talk about her, you can say yes. And by the way, Scott wants to, and I refuse. Again, I saw your post. It's Girl Scout cookie season.
Oh, sure.
We'll probably get to some type of important discussion here in a second, but I would just like to say, again, our conversation coming back over this past weekend is that I feel like the electronic world has ruined our children of work ethic.
Yeah, they don't know how to sell anymore.
No, I mean, like, gone are the days that you had. So for me, it was baseball season, and we were sponsored by the Lions Club.
Sure.
And I had to go door to door.
Yep.
And sell brooms, mops, and light bulbs. And that was the most excruciating thing for me to do in life. And it scarred me, I'm pretty sure. I still hate asking people if they want to buy something, or it's also why I probably suck at the whole giving sermon stuff.
Yeah,
but
see,
brooms, mops, and light bulbs traumatized me, but it taught me.
It doesn't bother me in the least.
How to sell.
Sure.
And your Girl Scouts are all online pre-order.
Well, right now, but they'll. Like,
I want them freezing cold and under a tent outside in a blizzard trying to hawk some Samoans.
Well, they do
I'll
that
buy
too.
it from that girl.
They do that too.
Winn-Dixie, they always
like
say.
they get a badge for walking door to door and doing that. So we have to like walk with them and take a picture and do all that. But they get a badge for that, and yeah, you'll see it. It's just now they've moved into when COVID hit, it went all. They didn't want you to walk door to door, but now it's like they don't care. Get out there, get it. Which we like, as you sell the perks of Girl Scout cookies and why it's important to buy them is that it helps pay for all like the activities they do, and so they get to sell. They get to go camping and kayaking and.
Well, I'm gonna go buy some. I usually buy like I'm on a diet right now. Not really.
Come February.
Like it's keto-ish.
Sure.
Because I still eat tortillas. Because I feel like that's corn. I eat the corn tortillas.
Eat the corn, yeah, sure.
I much prefer corn tortillas.
Well, they're gluten-free.
And I like the street taco-ish,
Yeah.
But come Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's New Year resolution and weight loss and all that, it goes out the window because there's chocolate and candy everywhere.
Well, because the Girl Scouts are out there.
And the Girl Scouts are open, so I usually buy a case of Samoans.
Yep, those are one of my favorites.
And I actually have managed to strategically draw it out. I think I'm down to my last box of Samoans in the freezer.
Oh, see, you're the one.
I'm the one.
You're the one who holds on to them.
Absolutely.
Like I don't.
That's why I buy a whole case. I put them in the freezer, and then I eat them as the year goes on, 1 or 2, and I had them from my family. I don't share.
Sure.
My wife likes the mint ones.
Thin mints.
Thin mints. You put those on ice cream. They're amazing.
Sure.
I was really disappointed in the salted caramel last year.
It was very much salt forward.
Yeah, I'm not.
I didn't care for that one either. I mean, but can you beat the classic? I'm kind of a classic. Like I like plain cheesecake.
Yeah. Are you a tag-along guy?
I like Samoas are my favorite. Tagalongs are a close second.
Yeah. I don't mind the peanut butter. You crunch it up, put it on your ice cream salad.
See, I don't put anything on my ice cream except I put peanut butter on my ice cream. That's about it.
How do you put peanut butter on ice cream?
How do you put peanut butter on a sandwich?
With a knife.
So you just use a spoon instead.
You spread your peanut butter into your ice cream.
Well, you kind of put it on like a dollop, and then you take a piece of peanut butter and some ice cream, and there you go.
I've never heard that.
Well, when you try it, it'll change your life.
I'm gonna try it. I might try it tonight. We're having the Tuscaloosa County's longest banana split.
Well, we did post a question earlier today. What does a gutter and ice cream have in common? And you get to find out tonight, but you got to come.
And I warned all the parents.
Yep,
Sunday,
you did. You
and
did.
I said we are going to
Sugar them up, send them home.
We are. Yeah. They're going to be bobbleheads coming home.
Yes.
And that is my goal for tonight. So,
like we were talking about at the dinner table last night, we were talking about how fuel is starting up. And so Quinn was like, what are we having? And I was like, well, I think it's chili and potatoes. And they're like, what's the kids' option? And I said, I don't know. And then she goes, well, what's for dessert? I said, I'm pretty sure it's brownies. But you also get ice cream. And she said, woo, maybe I'll eat this small of a brownie and this much of ice cream. And so she was like negotiating with herself. And I went, I don't care. Like, as much as you want.
I think we're going to have a large crowd. We got some good groups.
We sure do.
If I had to choose one to go to, which I don't, I'm kind of flittering between youth and worship, but if I had to choose one to go to, I'd have a hard time this go around. And I know some of them are women's, but I'm like, dude, Priscilla Schreier's Armor of God, I've read that study, and it is a phenomenal study. She does a great job with that. And then I said this, you heard that.
Yep.
I've read that book, and it's a great communication and how you hear things that aren't actually said, or you say things that people take the wrong way. It's basically how to communicate. And then there's a marriage class, which I don't need because our marriage is perfect and we never have problems. But if I were to have a problem in my marriage,
like I should
scoot that way. Well,
when the lightning comes down.
Yeah, exactly. We've mastered communication.
Well, I bet you have.
Yeah,
It only took how many years?
We've been married about 17-ish, I think, 18-ish. I don't know. For me, it was like yesterday. For Cassie, it was like 10 hours underwater.
Probably. Eric here is talking about peanut butter and pickle sandwich. Which I don't know.
Peanut butter and a pickle sandwich will change your life to peanut butter and a pickle sandwich. No.
See, look, Ashley's talking about how to make her husband happy. So, hey, way to go.
Since I've developed a shrimp allergy, I'm into some crawfish. Yeah, there you go.
She's into it.
I will say this, and thank you, Ashley, for agreeing with my correctness that Samoans are the best cookie.
I agreed with you.
I feel like if...
You call them Samoans, but they're Samoas. Samoans are
so
the
that's
Hawaiian
not politically
people.
Correct, huh?
Well, Samoans are the Hawaiian people.
I'm sure I'll get a text message from
they read out the pigeon.
PETA or somebody. No, PETA's animals, aren't they?
Yeah.
I don't know. The tree-hugging community.
Sure.
Yeah. So, see, that's my political shot. That's all I'm going to talk about politics today.
Well, okay.
Peanut butter and pickle sandwich. That is a...
Now I do. I mean,
savory and salt. Is it dill pickle or is it?
That would be my question.
Is it dill pickle? Is it butter?
See, I don't like bread and butter. I'm a dill guy or like a spicy pickle, but bread and butter, no thanks.
Now I will say this: there is some famous Dave pickles out there that are spicy, and they are the bread and butter style. And I'm not a big bread and butter. I'm more of a dill pickle. And my wife makes garlic dill pickles, and she'll put a chili pepper in there.
Oh yeah.
And so it's kind of like a spicy garlic. But those bread and butter famous Daves that they sell, you put them on a hamburger, adds at least a little stank to your hamburger.
I just don't know. Bread and butter has never been. I don't know how people like that one. Dill, we make some spicy ones. I use some ghost peppers from our garden that we made, so they're kicking.
And my dad used to make peanut butter banana sandwiches.
Sure.
Or peanut.
It's because your mom's a big fan of Elvis.
Yeah, she is.
Yep.
My mom's a huge fan of Elvis.
Yep.
And she cried when he died.
Well.
My dad also used to make mayonnaise and banana. and you could also do
Well, that
mayonnaise
sounds-
and tomato.
See, I'm not tomatoes are like so popular here in Alabama, and
I
I'm just
love
not.
tomatoes. You got
not
to
a
put garlic
tomato.
salt on them.
Yeah, everybody says you got to do this, but I just go, it's still a tomato, and I'm not into tomatoes.
Not into
Haven't-
tomatoes. How are you? Like you grew up in the salsa capital of the world. How do
Sure.
you not like tomatoes?
Well, I don't feel like. I mean, yes, there's tomatoes in salsa, but I don't really like ketchup either.
I don't like ketchup.
Like, but salsa, yeah, sure, I can eat salsa, but you get all the other stuff with it.
Yeah. Valid.
Like, I prefer salsa over pico de gallo.
Oh, see, I don't.
But see, I know.
I'm a big pico guy. I like
Yeah.
the chunky,
Sure.
like fresh.
Yeah, I like a nice, and I like green sauce over red.
Like I can walk in and slice up a whole tomato and put the coarse garlic
Sure.
salt on it and sit there and just eat it.
Yeah.
Eat it like that all day long.
Well, and we got, Bunny gave us a tomato pie. I've never heard of a tomato pie.
Oh yeah, really?
Nope,
Those are
never heard of it.
Amazing.
And she made us a tomato pie. And, I tried. I gave it the good old college try, but it just wasn't. I like mayonnaise a lot. And I just can't get into it. Wouldn't
Do you like mayonnaise? Are you a mayonnaise or a Miracle Whip? Which is better?
mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be. I like Blue Plate, but their mayonnaise not.
Mm-hmm.
Around here, everybody's real big fan of Duke's, but
Yeah, I'm not like. I mean, it's fine. I'm more of a Blue Plate.
yeah,
I choose Blue Plate over Duke's.
sure. It is one of those things I buy name brand. Like,
Yeah.
I like name brand mayonnaise.
I cannot stand off-brand condiments. Off-brand ketchup is the nastiest, watered down.
And
I
I
can't
don't mind
do it.
mustard being off brand. but,
Yeah,
like,
I don't think mustard's an
mayonnaise,
issue.
mayonnaise and peanut butter are on brand for me.
I can eat Great Value peanut butter.
I
but,
can eat
but
it.
mayonnaise, no, I always go straight for the.
Yeah, me too.
But ketchup and mac and cheese are my
And
two
Worcestershire
no-go
sauce.
off-brands.
I can't do. I
Off-brand Worcestershire sauce?
Yeah, I
Really?
do leaving Perrons.
Huh. I can't do off-brand mac and cheese.
See, I don't. Paisley really likes the blue box mac and cheese. Like, that's the only mac and she doesn't like cheese, but that's the mac and cheese she eats. But yeah, I don't. It's not. I like shells and cheese. Like, that's where I think it's
Oh, yeah.
at. But yeah.
So one thing spiritually,
Okay.
I don't know. I really don't have any question. My brain is
Well,
still.
I
It,
did-
it still hasn't woken up in 2023.
Well, I mean, I had some thoughts or some questions for you.
Okay,
about
good.
When
you
you,
asked
when
me
you
to.
feel
I
like
was just gonna ask, like, name one thing the church should do in 2023. Not our church, the church, Big C Church. Name one change the church needs to make in 2023 to grow God's kingdom. That was my question for you. Big change.
big change. Okay. Well, my question for you, while I'm pondering yours, I guess, is Joshua 1:9.
Yeah.
That was your chosen verse. How did you come to decide on? Because usually we pick a verse and it's kind of that one we leave in for the whole year. And so A, is Joshua 1:9 going to be the one for the year? And 2, how'd you get there?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been working on this no excuses for months, and I got so many notes in my dude. I'm like a sticky note guy, and the notes in my phone is the death of me because I'll be driving down the road and God will pop something in my head, and I jot it down on the notes, and then 3 days later I got a different note, and then I've got a note about a message that's going to be 2 weeks later in the same note file as It's like sticky notes when you write a phone number down on it and you
Sure.
stick it, and then 5 days later you look at it and you're like, who in the world is that? Because you didn't write the name on it. Do you ever do that? I bet you don't do that. You're too organized to do that.
I'm really organized with people's names when it comes to their last name. First name, it takes me a while to get, but last name, I usually know.
I'll jot something down on a sticky note. I love sticky notes. They gotta be fluorescent though. It can't be just white sticky notes. That's boring. But I've got notes all over the place for this. But the Joshua verse, like your favorite character is Joshua,
Yep.
which
That's
is
actually
ironic.
my favorite verse.
Is it?
Yep.
I think what I have heard a lot and leading up to 2023, November, December, is what's 2023 going to look like? And it's doom and gloom, and the economy's going to crash, and we're going to be in a war with Russia, and jobs are going to start. Everybody's laying off.
Yep.
Amazon, Facebook, all those. It's blah 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 blah. And I was just needing some positive. And so I was, in my quiet time, I was like, God just put me, like, I didn't need to be in Job. Like, you know what? And I'm not dogging it. I'm just saying
sure.
I didn't need to be in Revelation. You
No.
know, I didn't need to be in the
That's too.
those areas. I needed more like, so for me, Philippians is my happy book. It is the book of happiness, and it is. I've read through it all the time, but I'm like, you know, we talk about no excuses. Paul was a really good dude that had a lot of excuses he could have used, but he didn't. He always found joy in the prisons and all of that. But at the end of the day, I was just like, God, I just need something positive. I need a positive. And it wasn't even necessarily for the church stuff. It was just kind of my...
In general?
In general, because I try to do the same thing with my personal life, is write some stuff down and, okay, this is going to be my verse for the year.
Sure.
Not that it can't change, but this is kind of the direction I want my life to go. And the thing I liked about Joshua is 1:9. Is at the very beginning, he says, "This is my command."
Sure.
Like, it wasn't you know.
Yeah, you said that on Sunday, and it's, I've read that verse, I don't know how many times. You know, that was the first time I went, huh.
Yeah,
It does say that.
It's a goofy thing, is that's the part of the verse that really stuck out when it first came. And I'd been dealing with it, you know, for a month or two, and you made a comment about a verse, and I'm like, man, that's just been in my head because it says, you know, this is my command. Don't fear, be strong and courageous. You know, like, it's a little bit in line with what you said about yours. You know, be more assertive, be more decisive, you know, make decisions, move forward. Don't worry about the economy. Don't worry about, I'm not saying be stupid, but I'm just saying, you know, there's a lot of things that are out of my control. And so my goal this year is to release control of a lot of things, not just in work, but just in life in general. Is a mentor of mine, and I posted it. It's Phil Robertson made a comment. You can't find it on any of his quotes or anything, but he made a comment, I guess it was in a podcast or something. Sure. And they asked him... funny story, they asked him, you know, you've been married forever. What's your secret to marriage? You know, you always ask that to somebody who's been married. Because Phil Robertson's old enough. I think he went to Sunday school with Moses. But they've been married forever, right? And so he said, I've learned one thing, to become oblivious to chatter. And he was talking about his marriage, right?
Sure.
And it was funny to listen to it, because he's like, you know, when they're asking you 1,000 questions or complaining, you just, yep, yes, dear, yep, you're just oblivious to the chatter. But, and so for me, I think in 2023, and this is all surrounded your question about the verse, is I'm working on becoming oblivious to the chatter and not worrying about every little mundane issue. And with that comes the news. And, you know, I still kind of watch Fox and Friends. I don't watch the news. I don't watch it in the evening. I'm not like a sit and watch the news guy. But I do the lunches for the kids in the morning. I enjoy doing that. And it's kind of my way of, you know, I don't do any of the cute little notes and all that my wife does. But I like, you want to talk about a picky, like I'm picky about what goes in their lunches, and I shop for their lunches and all of that. But within that, I'll turn some Fox and Friends on.
Background noise.
Yeah, it's background noise. And I enjoy those guys because they banter. And, you know, I've gotten to where I like more of the banter back and forth, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why I like Clay and Buck. And I'll listen to them, but I don't usually listen to talk radio much anymore. And it's because... the end of the world's coming, as we know it, according to everything out there. But then I look at this verse, and it's like, hey, here's my command. Like, I almost feel like is God grabbing, you know, a dad grabbing the kid by the face and saying, hey, look at me, you know, and focus. This one's important. And, you know, it's not just a suggestion, and it's in a somewhat obscure, it's not an obscure verse, but it's in an obscure book of the Bible. Like, nobody's like, hey, I want to start the Bible. Where do you go? Go to Joshua. Like nobody,
Sure.
should. I mean, it's a great book,
Yeah.
but it's kind of in an obscure part. But he's basically grabbing him by the face and saying, hey, look at me, focus. This is important. This is my command. And I think that's where it got. It had been resonating with me. I didn't know that was your favorite verse, but it had resonated. And then when it came time to do that, oh yeah, we're supposed to have a verse and a tagline for it. I'm like, man, that thing's been rattling around in my head. What better vision, not just for our lives, but for the church?
Sure.
Churches are shutting down left and right, and every Barna stat. I mean, even in the Christian world, everything's negative. Like all of the news is negative right now. Other than mega churches, everybody's dying.
Right.
And Methodist church is splitting, which a lot of people don't realize. I got a lot of Methodist background and a lot of Methodist friends and pastors that are Methodist, and it breaks my heart to see how that has slid down that mountain. And a lot of our church members come from the Methodist background. My grandmother was Methodist, super conservative Methodist side, but and so you look at the Methodist church split, and you look at the godless churches in Europe and
big buildings.
They're museums.
Right.
Is what they are. Canada, I was shot some pictures of churches in Canada. Same deal. They're great museums to a bygone belief. Right. And God's not anywhere in the building. Jesus definitely isn't spoken of. And so I look at that, and everything in me wants to go, how do we turn that tide? And I'm still of the belief the church grows the strongest in persecution. And so I think we're going to have to lose a lot of freedom to wake up to the reality of what we actually have. We've become spoiled brats in the Christian world.
Sure.
Because we can walk in any Sunday and preach what we want and sing what we want and, have church.
Complain how you want.
Oh, good gosh. But, yeah, last week I was thinking of all of the things I say, because I always rewind it in my head, all the things I wanted to say and didn't, and then all of the things I did say.
I feel like there wasn't anything you didn't want to say last week. If I had to say.
It's the 2 weeks off, dude. It's the 2 weeks off. Somebody texted me and they were like, I think the most fun part of the service was watching your wife on the front row, like, oh no, what's he about to say? I think my favorite statement was, are we going to complain to God about all the things we don't have?
Sure.
Or are we going to rejoice and praise Him for all the things that we do? And that was one that kind of kicked me in the junk was man, it's that ravioli thing. I'm like, God, I got nothing to eat.
Sure.
Bro, I got T-bones in the freezer because, we kill a cow every year. But,
sure.
Well, we don't kill it for any of you PETA people. Somebody kills it. But we've got a freezer, full of stuff that most of the world would love to have. And
I've been holding out on our steaks because I keep going.
They're dwindling.
That was the first thing we ate the last time we had a cow, and then it was like ground beef forever.
Well, I got a buddy that raises them, and he's having a run of bulls and steers, and so I'm going to see if I can't buy a steer when he's little.
Oh, sure.
And then feed him out. But, for me, Matt, I think that verse, oblivious to the chatter, because at the end of the day, I mean, to quote T. Swizzle, haters going to hate and players going to play, and,
Well,
at the end of the deal, grow God's kingdom and, hey, be courageous and do not fear, So there's a lot of stuff to fear out there, but.
I mean, when you start really looking at Joshua, the person coming after Moses, like he was the guy after.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be the guy coming after Saban.
I just go, of course he's feeling nervous, not exactly knowing what to do, and yeah, I went. Moses was a big part.
And that's in the first chapter.
First chapter.
So like when you start to really
it's all throughout the chapter too, and even in if you go the chapter prior in Exodus, he has a similar conversation.
Well, see, and that's what I look at the nuances of. It's like you said, I've heard that verse and read that verse, and the whole. This is my command. really, it stuck out to me more with this verse, this go around. And I think that was just God telling me, hey, I'm not asking, I'm telling you, stop being a wuss. But that's Scott version.
Yeah. Well, and he when God repeats himself, it's serious.
Yep,
and he repeats
absolutely.
He repeats very similar to Joshua, whatnot, all throughout Joshua.
We should do a series on Joshua.
I mean,
I've never done a series on Joshua.
I don't feel like anybody does a series on Joshua, but
they like James.
Oh, sure.
But they don't do a series on Joshua. I think after Urban Legends, we don't have anything in March, do we?
I think we are only planned through February.
Okay.
Usually about this time we start talking next 6 months series.
Yeah.
So
I like Joshua. We need to do a study on a person, so that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Joshua.
It's a good book. We can do that. But, yeah, I think that's where the verse came from, is just God's trying to get my attention and just say, hey, stop worrying about it, stop fearing it, make some decisions. You're not going to tank what I've already ordained. So,
sure.
I mean, like you said, the majority of the decisions that we sit around and worry about so much, like, it's a case in point the other day, my brain, I went to spiraling, and one of the guys, he's a military guy, he said, hey, dude, you're spiraling. And I'm like, I want to say shut up. Rodney, when he was preaching, he asked the question, who do you have in your life that can correct you? And,
sure.
You're one of those guys for me, but I got 5 or 6 other guys in my life that can. But he was like, hey, dude, you're spiraling. That's probably not going to happen. It is. But that's a case in point, as you can get. I mean, anxiety is worrying about 90% of things that never come to fruition, right?
I got a text from an elder Sunday night and said, hey, can we meet Monday? And I went, oh, crap.
It's like the brain goes to spin. It's like, oh,
and then I went,
called into the boss.
And I'm like, shoot, like, what did I do? All right, do I want to burn it down? Do I not? And then it comes in and he's like, hey, I need some help with Planning Center. And I'm like, oh, shut up.
Well, I have learned I do not do blind meetings well at all.
Oh, no. Well, and I even played the game and was like, hey, is there something I can prepare for you so we can try to find it out? And still it was like, yeah, you can. And then he never told me.
Never
okay, dude. All right.
Well, for me, I hate going into blind meetings. And so when somebody calls and says, hey, man, can we get together and talk? I'm like,
oh, yeah.
What could it, and your brain could go in 85 different directions. So I usually text, and if it's especially like an elder or like a boss or like even another staff, because we have an open door in out, kind of like, hey, man, you got a sec, sit down and talk. So if somebody schedules an appointment with me, I'm like, oh, boy, what's this about? And so I've learned to ask, can you give me some context on the conversation? And then if they say no, I don't know what I do. I'll be like, well, then I can't meet. I've got a hair appointment.
Sorry.
Until you give me context, I got a hair appointment. But yeah, it's your brain can go spiraling, and I think for me, as somebody who struggled with anxiety over the years, that verse for me, and then I think it's a verse for everybody this year, because if you talk to anybody, the church is collapsing. Not ours, the church, with all the Barna stuff, and our country's collapsing, and we're going to be the Rome, and the economy's collapsing, and, it's like, hey, don't fear, be strong, be courageous, don't fear. I got it. And so my whole no excuses, I guess one thing I want to change this year is I guess the verbiage would be letting go of the reins a little bit, but more so to the God side of that. It's just saying, he's got it. He'll figure it out. I don't think our elder board wants me back in the maverick mode of just making decisions and rolling. But by and large, most decisions I don't need to really overly.
Sure.
I don't want to say be a part of, but I mean.
Well, I think we put a lot, like you said. I think there's a lot of thought that goes into.
Like I'm going to move this couch sitting in here.
Yeah, I was wondering if we were going to move that one or not. But
yeah, I'm going to move it, and it's. I'm not going to have a meeting about it. I'm just going to move it, and it'll be where it'll be.
Is it a nickel decision or a dollar decision?
Ooh,
that's
I like that.
How much time do you want to spend on it? Like a nickel decision needs a nickel's worth of time.
Where'd you get that?
That's
pretty
good
stuff. That was good stuff. I like that. Is it a nickel decision or a dollar decision? Is how much time you're going to spend on it? With the money. Look at that. Yeah. That's clever.
See,
that's tweetable.
There you go.
You send that to Elon.
Well, he's lost a lot of dollars.
He has lost a lot of dollars, and yet, he don't care.
And yet he's still worth like $140 billion.
I think he's the second richest man in the world, and he's lost 40-something billion.
Oh, I thought it was. I heard this on the news yesterday. He was projected somewhere between 170 and $200 billion lost.
Oh my gosh!
And his net worth is still going to be 140 billion.
Like, how do you spend 140 billion?
I don't know.
I buy a plane.
Well, even then.
So I buy a plane so I wouldn't have to drive to the beach.
He literally bought a spaceship and still has money left over.
I know, right? I'm like,
just go. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I think that the service last week, especially with that verse, and a teaser for this week is we all have to take a step. I mean, the question is, do you want to get better? And to get better in a lot of ways, back to Joshua 1:9, to get better, man, it's a step. I was talking to a guy the other day.
It's kind of that last part of that verse in going, God is with you.
God is with you. Yeah. He's not going to leave you. So and I think my favorite story of last week was the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Sure.
I love what they say. I know that you can. I believe that you will. But even if you don't, I'm still going to praise you in the fire. And so Joshua 1:9 has a God promise in it.
Sure.
It says, I will not. And so it's a God promise in it. And he's got a commandment and a promise all in the same verse. And I think for me, when you ask the question, do you want to get well? Like, I think of that dude on the mat, right? Or I think of the disciples when Jesus said, follow me, drop your nets and follow me. Dude, that's scary. Like, I'm about to have a whole lot. Like, I've been laying here on this mat for 38 years, and you're telling me to believe enough to stand up. Like, how many times had that guy been given a magic pill or had a shaman come by or had somebody, pray over him? How many times had he prayed to God,
Sure.
Heal me, heal me, heal me? And so this cat comes along and he's like, hey, do you want to get well? I mean, the fear of believing is huge. And I think a lot of people, when you talk about fear, we can talk about economy, but the fear of belief, that's a scary one. Can my life change? Can my marriage get better? That's a scary thought, is to say, can I trust again? If you've been burned, like in marriage, if you've come out of a divorce, I'm just hypothetical. If you've come out of a divorce, do not be afraid means, can I trust again? Can I love like I've never been hurt? Can I trust like I've never been burned? And, man, those are scary propositions, because I know for me, dude, you burn me once. It's that, burn me once, shame on you, burn me twice, shame on me. But that hurts, and so to be able to trust like you've never been burned, man, to get better and to say, I'm going to take a step, I'm going to walk into a small group.
Right.
Like, there's a bunch of weird people in small groups. I mean, just look at our small group. I mean, you're talking about a wide range of people. And I remember the first time I ever walked into a small group that Cassie suckered me into. It actually had the preacher teaching it, which was even more like, oh my gosh. But it was just a group of people. And that was probably, dude, I've stood there with thousands of Haitians wanting to kill me. And I was more scared walking into the door of that. I can even picture the door. I can tell you the house. It was a defining moment. But that was probably one of the most scared times of my life, was walking into that group. It was at a home. And because everything in me was like, what are they going to say? And I did notice a couple of looks. It's that look, when they see you and then they turn back just to verify, like, is that
he walked in.
He walked in. But I didn't let it get to me. And it wound up being like the people, if I said I was going to go back to Branson, some of the people that we would still know and keep in communication with are originally in that group. Sure. And so when I look at that verse that says, do not be afraid, well, don't be afraid. Just take a step. Get back into church.
Right.
Get back into a small group. Get back into into a Bible study.
Sure. And Bible studies are so much easier now.
They are.
It's ridiculous how simple. I go download the Bible app and invite a friend to do one with you.
It is.
It's crazy easy.
I am so not that guy. And you and Wayne both send me stuff all the time, and I should do, but I'll read the first one, and then I'm like, I am a open the pages guy, even like reading books. I have them on my iPad, but I would rather have a book in my
physical
hand.
paper, sure.
And for me, again, it's that sticky note. I'm a highlighter guy. I like to highlight and to make notes and stuff like that, and so
we just started in 5-6. We started. We're redoing the Gospels, and we're highlighting. We're starting in Matthew, and we're reading, and I go, hey, as we're going, highlight what you feel like sticks out to you or what you feel like is important. And it's fun to watch the kids because some of them will highlight, one verse, and then some of them will, the whole page, and I'm like, I get what you're saying. Mm-hmm. But I go, how about you highlight what sticks out to you, not what's important? And so they'll go, oh, okay. So 1 or 2 verses. And I'm like, you can highlight the whole chapter if it's just something you feel like it's hard to tell them, hey, if that's what you feel like you're being called to do, that's what you should do. But I can't imagine, I feel like there's some interference in there.
I bought my wife and my daughter for Christmas or birthday or something. I don't remember what it was. And I think we bought them for some of the girls here at church. It's basically the highlighter Bible. It's got different things throughout that you can color kind of with highlighters.
Sure. Yep.
It was pretty. I was Barnes and Nobles, or I don't know where I was at, but I was like, oh man, that's cool. And it comes with your different highlighter colors. And so they would, because my wife is we'd go to church, bro. I'd be sitting in the back row, just
I can't sit next to your wife because she starts
Yeah,
and I'm like, I can't.
She is a note taker.
I pay attention to her. She had the phone that you could swipe.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I don't know what you're doing, but my gosh.
Well, she would get in there. She's got this weighted blanket, and when she does her Bible study, she's got this Bible open, and she's got highlighters everywhere and pens everywhere. And we'd walk into church, and she'd pull out a pen and 3 highlighters, different colors, and I'm sitting back there on the back row I just, I don't even know that I would actually open it because I read it off the screen, but she's back there, and she does all that, and I love watching that, but there's 2 Bibles I would love to just take and write a book about, and one of those is my wife's highlighter Bible, just to see what sticks out to her.
Yeah.
And the other one is my dad's Bible that he used to take to Goodyear, and he wrote notes all throughout it. And I think there would be a wealth of knowledge. You did it at the Brew, it's a coffee shop at our last church, that you had a Bible and everybody would highlight their favorite verses. And I would like to walk through there.
Well, we
see what sticks out to people.
We did that because that Bible would be given to somebody new in the faith, and so we could say, instead of going, start in John or whatever, we just go, hey, there's hundreds of highlighted verses for you.
Oh, wow.
Just flip through and start reading just the highlighted parts. And so that's how we...
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
It was twofold in going. It was a cool thing to see people come through and highlight the different verses. And then second, it was evangelical tool for us to use for somebody new to the faith.
So we got 7 minutes left. Let me ask you this. What is one actual step you're going to take in 2023?
Me? Mm-hmm. One actual step. I feel like what's been burning in my brain is a 90-day sprint through the Bible, which I'm not looking forward to starting because Job comes up really fast and it's a really hard read. But I'm looking to sprint through the Bible in 90 days, so that's 24 minutes of reading every day or something like that. This is how it comes out. But that's, I feel like, the step I'm going to be taking here shortly.
Gotcha. If you had a dream in 2023 to facilitate And money was no object. What would that be? If you said there's one thing that I would love to do in 2023, what would it be?
Me personally or the church?
You.
I would start a table making business. That's what I would do. I would buy as much maple and cherry and red oak and hardwood as I could find and make tables.
Ah, there you go.
That's what I don't know. I love making tables. Always have. I think it's fascinating. Or I'd buy a sawmill. I think those are fascinating too. I think it'd be cool to create your own wood. Of course, having it dry out, but yeah, that's the hard part.
Gotcha.
What about you?
I want to go to El Paso.
We did talk about that at the end of the year. Heading out to the border.
Yeah.
And tackling that project. But, yeah. I don't know. I think that could be on the horizon. I would say you should probably avoid June and July just from a comfort perspective.
Yeah, El Paso in July is
hot.
Correct. That is brutally hot. That's like desert hot.
Yeah, it snows in El Paso, so you got like all the seasons over there. But yeah, it would be a tough one. As for what I want to see the church do, you asked that question earlier. I'd like to see the small C churches supporting each other more often. Like, I wouldn't mind. I have half a mind or half a brain to start going to all the other churches and just being like, hey, can I have a pamphlet? Can I have 20 pamphlets that we can put in our lobby? Because undoubtedly people are going to walk into our church and it's not going to be for them, and that's okay. There is a church for them. And wouldn't it be cool if we all just supported each other and just said, hey, you know what? I know that TWCC is not for you, but hey, I'd love to introduce you to wherever.
I like that. I like that idea.
That's where I want to be.
I would love to see churches get more interactive with each other. It's rather than being motorcycle gangs and hating each other because you go to a different church. But
right.
I see a lot of that starting in our community. There's
Sure.
some other pastors that have reached out. There's a new pastor in town from Texas I need to reach out to. I think on our end of town, which north end of town, there's several pastors that would love to get together and intermix
Sure.
and do stuff together. But
I don't even know if we have to do stuff together, but support each other.
Sure.
I'd love to donate to whatever event they got going on and just saying, hey, here's some cash money or here's some hot dogs or hamburgers for whatever you got going on.
Yeah.
That's where I'd like to see the church.
Well, that's a 2023 mission, vision, and direction. Joshua 1:9.
Joshua 1:9 and stop the infighting.
Stop the infighting. Take a step. Take a step. Any step. Get back into what you were doing. Do you want to get well? Take a step. This week we're going to be in Hebrews. And it's on being real.
That's how Moses likes to make his coffee. That's the first thing I think
Hebrews.
of. Hebrews.
I almost named my the title of this week Hebrews just because it was that was funny to me because when we were coming up with coffee names for the church and that one pops up and I'm like but yeah, this week we're going to be in Hebrews 12, 13ish, and it's all about how to be real and live a life,
Sure.
not fake, and how to come to God with confidence, how to go to others with confidence, and I think it'll be good. It's that continuing to have confidence to take
Sure.
that step and invite somebody, bring one. That's going to be my.
That's going to be our
my
next
2023 verbiage will be bring
will
one.
be no excuses and bring one.
No excuses and bring one.
I can see the bracelet now.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I forgot about the bracelet. We always have bracelets.
Yeah, we usually have one.
Yeah, we need no excuses with Joshua 1:9.
I started as last week was.
I still got it. It's a big deal.
Yep.
That was from
As I was sitting in church, I started looking up wristbands. So it's been on my brain.
Let's get it. No excuses and Joshua 1:9 on it.
On it.
On it. Good deal. All right, guys. Time is up. Love you guys, and we will see you tonight, or we will see you Sunday.
Yeah, we do need to make sure we plug Fuel one more time because it does start tonight.
Fuel does start.
Fuel, small groups, youth, kids, 5-6, it's all going on.
Yep,
so
great first step.
Yep.
Chili bar, it's going to be kind of cool, so that works.
Yep.
Baked potato bar and salad bar.
And if you just are having a hard time inviting somebody, we have an ice cream machine.
Yes, and we're going to have Tuscaloosa County's longest banana split
don't give away
in 2023.
Don't give away the secret.
I won't give away the secret. All right, we will see you tonight. See you next week, same time.